The cost of living is going up all over the world. As new generations flock to big cities in search of better jobs and more robust culture, the price of rent skyrockets, and the addition of multinational conglomerates buying huge swaths of property exacerbates the problem, making many cities inaccessibly expensive. Today, we're counting down the top 10 most expensive cities in the world. Everyone knows that Los Angeles is home to some of the world's wealthiest and most influential people. So it comes as no surprise that it's one of the most expensive zip codes on Earth. To be exact, Los Angeles is the 10th most expensive city on the planet. The median cost of a home is $689,500 and the average monthly rent for a 700 square foot apartment is $2,545. That's far above average and leads many of LA's aspiring actors and filmmakers to live in cramped, squalid conditions in order to make rent. Los Angeles is a perfect study in how the demand curve works. When the demand for something is high, prices rise. And there is plenty of demand to live in Los Angeles. As a result, everything including rent, food, gas, and utilities is expensive. When considering a move to LA, the first order of business is understanding how much money it's going to take to pay the bills. On top of this, Los Angeles has minimal public transportation and bike infrastructure, meaning that most people are dependent on cars to get around. The price of gas is another huge addition to the cost of living for Angelenos. However, the average salary in Los Angeles is $74,000, far more than the US average of $56,000. That means many locals can afford the astronomically high cost of living. Many people are surprised to learn that Israel has an extremely high cost of living. In fact, Tel Aviv is by far the most expensive city in the Middle East. The sunny beach location and vibrant youth culture contribute to the appeal of this expensive city. The average price of a mid-sized apartment is $2,500, meaning it's tied with LA as the 10th most expensive city in the world. Though Israel is home to some of the most contested territory on Earth, Tel Aviv has a decidedly apolitical atmosphere compared to more traditional cities like Jerusalem. As a result, many expats from around the world flock to Tel Aviv and drive up the already astronomical cost of living. The average salary is $69,000, meaning that most Israelis can afford the city of Tel Aviv. Titled the Mediterranean Capital of Cool by the New York Times, this is a 24-hour city with a unique pulse, combining sandy Mediterranean beaches with a world-class nightlife, a buzzing cultural scene, incredible food, UNESCO-recognized architecture, and an international outlook. While its relationship with Palestine dissuades many people from visiting, Tel Aviv has many undeniable charms. The second US city on the list, New York City, is infamous for its prohibitively high cost of living. The average apartment costs $2,600, meaning that most residents are forced into close quarters and population density is higher than anywhere else in North America. However, it has one of the most powerful economies in the world with an annual GDP of $842.3 billion. That's more than many entire countries. The average household income in New York City is $57,000, meaning that it's lower than either of the previous cities. But it's important to remember that while New York City has expensive rent and food, the cost of transportation is relatively low. That's because the subway and bus system shuttle citizens around the city for a few dollars, so most residents do not rely on a car. Beyond this, New York is home to amazing theatre, comedy, music, film, and more. No matter what time of year, week, or day it is, there's always something going on here. New Yorkers have endless activities at their disposal, only a train ride away. You truly can do anything at any time. The city is also on the cutting edge of the food scene, and foodies have a unique opportunity to witness firsthand some of the most inspired cuisines in modern gastronomy. Scandinavia is renowned for its peaceful society, beautiful nature, and high cost of living. The most expensive city in the region and the 7th most expensive in the world is Copenhagen, Denmark. The average price of an apartment is $1,200, which is much lower than the other cities on the list. However, Denmark has a very different pricing structure from the average country. Citizens pay a lot in taxes, sometimes 50% of their total income, and in return, they get free education, healthcare, and rent subsidies if necessary. With a shorter work week and a healthy work-life balance, Copenhagen residents are a happy bunch. As a result, it has one of the highest qualities of life in the world. The average salary is $86,000, giving most citizens more than enough money to explore the city's legendary culinary and culture scene. In fact, it's home to Noma, which is widely considered to be the best restaurant in the world. Denmark has topped the UN's World Happiness Report 3 times, and Copenhagen has become emblematic of the country's proud reputation for happy living. More than this, it's a safe city. Denmark is the world's 5th most peaceful country, according to the 2018 Global Peace Index, with a lower crime rate than most European cities, 24-hour transport options, and an inclusive, family-friendly culture. Rounding out the 3-way tie for 7th place is Seoul, South Korea. Seoul's city motto is the soul of Asia, and once moving here or even visiting, it's easy to see why people fall in love with this mega city. An apartment can easily cost $2,500 a month in Seoul, but it's common for your employer to pay this cost, a cultural difference that makes South Korea very appealing for expats. Considering the average salary is only $57,000, it's fortunate that employers typically pay a large percentage of their employees' rent. Springing from the ruins of the South Korean War, Seoul has boomed in just 50 years to become the world's 10th most economically powerful city and 2nd largest metropolitan area. No matter how large or small, Seoulites have never met a job they couldn't finish ahead of schedule. Also renowned for its culinary scene, Seoul has a huge appeal. Korea's most recognized dish after Korean barbecue is bibimbap, a rice bowl mixed with sautéed roots, marinated beef and chili paste in a hot stone pot. Seoul also has the most art openings per square mile of any city on Earth. Coming in at number 5 is Osaka, Japan. Osaka is a cosmopolitan city near the ancient capital Kyoto, best known for its dynamic food and drinking culture and famously outgoing people. The cuisine is what draws many culinary travelers to Osaka. The people of Osaka are notorious for their obsession with eating and drinking, which has given rise to the local expression kuedaore, to eat oneself to ruin. But locals pay the price when they pay roughly $1,500 every month for rent. Japan has a reputation for its high living costs, especially Tokyo, which annually makes it into the list of the world's top 10 most expensive cities. Like most major cities in the world, rent tends to make up a large chunk of living costs in Japan, followed by car ownership and transport. Some of the world's most expensive land can be found in central Osaka, which contributes to its reputation of being an expensive city. However, rent can vary from cheap tiny apartments of around 10 square meters to exorbitantly priced luxury apartments in prime districts. But the average salary in Osaka is only $46,000, the lowest on the list so far. Tied for number 5 spot is Geneva, Switzerland. Geneva is a gorgeous city, one that's filled with mountains of chocolate and some incredible history. Surrounded by the Alps to the south, the city is a perfect place to begin your adventure in Switzerland. Geneva is home to the largest lake in Europe. Switzerland's 2nd largest city is slick and cosmopolitan, and its people chatter in almost every language among streets paved by gold. But for all its allure, Geneva is criminally expensive. A 1-bedroom apartment can cost $3,500 a month. With an average salary of $120,000 a year, Genevans have a lot of money and an amazing quality of life. But remember that a beer often costs $10, and it's difficult to find a meal without paying $30 to $40. If you can get over these exorbitant costs, you can enjoy some of the best hiking, skiing and climbing in the world in the nearby Swiss Alps. As we just covered, Switzerland is an expensive country with a lot to offer. Zurich edged out Geneva to become the uncontested 4th most expensive city in the world. Zurich is the most important business location in Switzerland. Due to good connections, safe, high quality of living, and excellent education and research institutions, Zurich is an extremely attractive location for companies and their employees. It's not without reason that the Zurich economic area accounts for around a fifth of the overall value added and jobs in Switzerland. With rents between $2,000 to $3,000, Zurich is undoubtedly one of the priciest places on earth. However, the average salary is $226,000, far more than any other city on the list. Suddenly, a few $1,000s in rent doesn't sound so bad. Switzerland's largest city is on the shore of its glistening eponymous lake. Zurich is a financial powerhouse with a livability ranking that outstrips almost anywhere in the world. You can catch trains from the Hauptbahnhof and be on a peak breathing in sparkling air in a matter of minutes, and the city's rivers and that magnificent lake have supreme water quality for swimming. These outdoor pools, or Badisch, have become night spots in the centre of the city. Paris's seductive charms are legendary, and for good reason. Inviting sidewalk cafes, gleaming boutiques, world-class museums, endless things to do, and a fabled restaurant scene make Paris the runway model of cities. Beautiful, fashionable, confident, and inspiring envy at every turn. The average rent is $1,300, and food is also relatively expensive. But with an average income of only $49,000 a year, these French residents have less money than their Swiss or American counterparts. All the same, Paris is a very livable city with good transportation and access to many cultural amenities, including many of the most celebrated museums and galleries in the world. Rounding out the three-way tie for first place is Singapore. It may be the most expensive city in the world, but Singapore has racked up plenty of other superlatives: cleanest, best planned, and quite possibly most entertaining. The Lion City is home to the world's largest rooftop infinity pool, the world's first safari park for nocturnal animals, centuries-old temples, and of course, some of the best food in the world. You'll also find extraordinary gardens, righteous architecture, world-class performance venues, shopping streets, and experimental art galleries. The city-state offers a fascinating melding of the old and new, the historic and the modern. It's not uncommon to see apartments listed for more than $3,000, and every activity is extremely expensive as well. But Singapore is a business hub, and the average salary is $67,000. That means that most Singapore residents aren't millionaires, but they make a very comfortable income to match their ultra-expensive city.